In Brendon Burchard's book, The Millionaire Messenger, at the very end of the book, Brendon relays a story about a time when he was teaching. He was a professor at a community college, and he was teaching a class on public speaking. And he tells the story about one of his students, Sarah, who religiously attended every day of class, except for the days where she was supposed to be up front presenting. She missed every single opportunity to present to the class. And about 2/3 of the way through the class, it became very apparent to Brendon that she had failed the class. But she still continued to come. She came every single day. Then finals came up. Brendon posts the schedule for final presentations for the entire class. And because Sarah had already flunked the class, he didn't even bother to schedule her. A couple of days later, he's sitting in his office, and Sarah comes into his office very sheepishly, looking down at the floor, and asks Brendon if she could do the final presentation. And Brendon says to her, well, Sarah, I know that you haven't given a presentation yet in the class, and there's no way that you can pass the class, so there really isn't a point. And she replies to him, I know I screwed up. I know I missed out on a large opportunity here, but I kept coming to class because being in your class really inspired me. And I knew if I kept coming to class, if I kept being here and listening to what you had to say, that eventually I would find my breakthrough moment. And I want to give my final presentation, even though it's not going to have an effect on my final grade. So Brendon reaches into his bag and pulls out the schedule and writes Sarah's name in on the very last day of presentation finals. The day comes up, and to Brendon's surprise, Sarah shows up for that day. Sarah gets up in front of the class, and as she's giving the presentation, she gets about 2 minutes in and stops. She stops long enough that it's uncomfortable for Brendon, the class, and Sarah herself. And Brendon can see the energy in Sarah draining from her body. A couple of minutes into it, one of the students in the class very quietly says, "Go ahead, Sarah. You can do it." After a little bit more pause, Sarah regains her energy, and she regains her presentation, finds her voice again, and from there, for what was supposed to be a 20-minute final presentation, ended up being a 40-minute presentation. And when she was done, the class started to cheer for her, started to clap for her, and she sheepishly walks her way back to her desk. And one of her friends in the class said, "I knew you could do it, Sarah. I knew you could do it." And gets up out of her desk and gives her a great big hug. And at that point, everybody in the class stands up and gives her a standing ovation. At the end of the class, Brendon's sitting at his desk. The class is cleared out by this point, and he's putting his papers and his folders and everything back in his bag. And Sarah comes walking back into the room, and looking down at the floor, she says to Brendon, "Thank you for believing in me. Nobody ever told me that my voice matters." I wanted to share that story with you because that story had a tremendous impact on me as I heard it. It gives me goosebumps today just to relay it to you, and I'm so honored to be able to relay Brendon's story in that way. And I want to tell you that your voice matters. Whether it's at home and you're dealing with your children or your husband or your wife, or you're in business with somebody, you're in a job working 40 hours a week, your voice matters. Don't be afraid to speak up. because you never know when you're going to say just that right thing that is going to have a tremendous impact on the one person that needed to hear it that day. Your voice matters. You need to add that to your belief system. You need to add that to your incantations every day, to your gratitude list, whatever you do as part of your morning ritual. And if you don't have a morning ritual, start a morning ritual. It is one of the most powerful things you can do in your day, and we'll have another video about that. Maybe that's the subject I'll handle tomorrow, is I'll tell you what my morning ritual is and give you some ideas. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope you found this story as inspiring as I did. Again, you can always find me at robrell.com. You can find me on Facebook at Robrell Blog. The last name is spelled R-O-E-L-L, pronounced Rell. Please like this, share it with your friends and family. Please like my blog. And if you go to my website, or not if you go, but when you go to my website, take a moment and put your name and email address in there so that I can make sure that you get the link to all of these blog posts, and we're not just dependent on Facebook showing you through their algorithms what they want to show you. All right? Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.